Every single one of us has dreams, but dreams don't work unless you do, and the truth is, no, one is coming to hand them to you. You will face rejection. You will hear no more times than you can count. People will doubt you, criticize you, underestimate you. And in those moments, you'll have two choices. Let them decide who you are, or rise and decide it for yourself. I've learned that success is not about luck. It's about persistence. It's about waking up every morning and choosing to fight for the life you want, even when it feels impossible, even when the world tells you you can't. Don't be afraid to be different. Don't be afraid to stand alone. Don't shrink yourself so that others feel comfortable. Own your ambition, own your passion, own your voice, and let me tell you something. Failure will happen. Not once, not twice, but over and over again. And that's not the end of the road. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's a part of success. Every time you fall, you're learning how to rise. Every no is just a step closer to the yes that changes your life. So stop waiting for the perfect moment. There is no perfect moment. The perfect time is right now. Take risks. Take that leap. Believe in yourself so fiercely that the world has no choice but to believe in you too. Because at the end of the day, greatness is not about what you achieve for yourself. Greatness is about how you inspire others, how you create impact, how you leave this world a little better than you found it. So go out there, be bold, be brave, be unstoppable. Your only limit is you. Dreams don't work unless you do, and that is the most powerful truth you will ever learn in your life. Everyone has dreams. Some dream of success, some dream of love, some dream of wealth, some dream of leaving behind a legacy that will be remembered. But here's the thing, dreams in themselves are just imagination. They are like beautiful castles built in the air. They inspire us, they make us feel alive for a moment, but unless you put in the effort, unless you put in the sweat, unless you're ready to face the battles that come with chasing them, they will always remain in your head and never become your reality. Hard work is what separates wishful thinking from achievement. And that is why you must understand that the responsibility of your dream lies only in your hands. There are countless people in the world who have incredible talent, who have vision, who have potential, but they never reach where they are supposed to because they keep waiting. They wait for the perfect opportunity. They wait for someone to recognize them. They wait for luck, for timing, for the world to hand them what they think they deserve. But the truth is, the world doesn't owe you anything. It will not pause and look at you just because you have a dream. You have to step into the chaos, you have to push, you have to fall, you have to rise, and you have to demand from life what you want by showing through your actions that you are worthy of it. The difference between people who achieve their dreams and those who don't is not intelligence. It's not luck. It's not even resources. The difference is consistency. The achievers show up every single day, even when they don't feel like it, even when it hurts, even when no one is clapping for them. They wake up earlier, they stay up later, they sacrifice comfort, they silence their doubts, and they remind themselves that their dream deserves their best effort. Everyone wants the glory, but very few want the grind. And that's why only a few make it to the top. When you decide to chase a dream, you have to be ready to give a piece of yourself to it. You have to invest your time, your energy, your mind, and sometimes even your peace. You cannot plant a seed today and expect a tree tomorrow. You water it, you protect it, you nurture it, you fight the storms, you wait patiently, and one day it begins to grow. That is exactly how dreams work. You build brick by brick, day after day, failure after failure, lesson after lesson, and then one morning, you wake up and realize that you are living the very life you once imagined. But none of that happens without effort. Sometimes the hardest part is not starting but continuing. Because when you start, the energy is fresh, the excitement is alive, the motivation is strong, but then obstacles come. Then rejection knocks at your door. Then people laugh at you, criticize you, ignore you. That is where most people stop. But if your dream is real, if your dream matters to you, then that is the moment to double your effort. That is the moment to remind yourself why you began. That is the moment to understand that your dream will test you to see how badly you want it. Nothing worth having will come easy. Everything worth having demands your patience, your courage, your resilience, your discipline. Don't get distracted by shortcuts. Shortcuts can give you small wins, but they never give you fulfillment. If you want to stand tall, if you want your success to be respected, if you want your journey to inspire others, then you have to put in the hours when no one is watching. You have to be willing to practice when no one is clapping. You have to keep moving when the road looks endless, because success is not built in front of a crowd. It is built in silence, in the lonely nights, in the sacrifices no one knows about. The applause comes later. People will tell you that you can't do it. They will remind you of your flaws. They will remind you of your failures. And sometimes the loudest voice telling you to give up will be your own. But when that voice comes, you have to fight it with action. Take a step forward, however small. Progress, however slow, is still progress. The people who succeed are not those who never feel fear, not those who never doubt themselves, but those who learn to act even when they are afraid. They understand that courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is moving forward despite it. Dreams don't work unless you do, and doing the work means embracing discomfort. It means being okay with being misunderstood. It means showing resilience when doors close on your face. It means not settling for easy when you know you're capable of great. And it means reminding yourself that success is not just about reaching a destination. It's about who you become while walking toward it. Every obstacle you face, every mistake you make, every lesson you learn is shaping you into the person strong enough to hold that dream when it finally becomes yours. So when you think of your dream, don't think of it as a prize sitting at the end of a race. Think of it as a journey that will require you to run, to stumble, to fall, to get back up, and to keep moving again. And understand this. The dream is not waiting for you. The dream is moving too, and if you stop, it will pass you by. That is why you must keep working, keep chasing, keep evolving, keep proving, keep rising. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of success. This is a truth that most people struggle to accept because we are conditioned from childhood to believe that failure is shameful, that it defines us, that it is the end of the road. But failure is not the end. Failure is the teacher, the mentor, the fire that shapes us into who we are supposed to be. If you look closely, every person who has ever achieved greatness has walked through the valley of failure, sometimes again and again, before they saw the light of success. Yet, when we fail, we often give up too soon, thinking that maybe it was never meant for us, when in reality failure is only redirecting us, only strengthening us, only preparing us for something bigger than what we could imagine at the time. The truth is, failure hurts. It breaks your confidence, it makes you question your worth. It forces you to sit with disappointment, and sometimes it even makes you want to disappear, and that's okay. That pain is real, that sting is real. But what you do after that pain, what you choose when you stand at that crossroads, is what defines your life. Do you allow failure to bury you, or do you use it as the foundation to rise higher? Most people confuse failure with a dead end, when in reality it is simply a detour. It doesn't mean you cannot reach your destination. It only means you need to change your path, adjust your strategy, or learn something you were missing before. Imagine if every successful person had stopped at their first failure. Imagine if they had believed the voices that said, "You are not good enough, you are not strong enough, you are not worthy." The world would be empty of greatness because no one gets it right on the first try. Babies fall hundreds of times before they take their first step. Children mispronounce words countless times before they learn to speak clearly. We accept that as natural, we call it learning. But when it comes to our bigger dreams, suddenly we label every mistake as failure, every rejection as proof that we cannot succeed. The truth is, you are still learning, and learning will always come with mistakes. Failure is not your enemy, it is your trainer. It strips away your arrogance, it humbles you. It forces you to work harder, to dig deeper, to sharpen your skills, to strengthen your character. It teaches you resilience, it teaches you patience, it teaches you the value of perseverance. You cannot know the taste of true victory unless you have swallowed the bitterness of defeat. That's why failure is not the opposite of success. It is an ingredient. It is like the heat that forges steel. Without it, you remain fragile, untested, unprepared. Success without failure is an illusion, and it never lasts. Success that has been earned through failure, however, is unshakable, because it is built on lessons that cannot be unlearned. People will laugh at you when you fail. They will criticize you, they will call you reckless, they will say you aimed too high, they will try to remind you of your mistakes again and again. And in those moments, you have two choices. You can agree with them, or you can prove them wrong by continuing to move forward. You see, the most dangerous thing about failure is not the loss itself. It is the voice it creates in your head that tells you to stop trying. That voice is louder than any critic, louder than any obstacle, because it comes from within. But if you learn to silence that voice, if you learn to say, "Yes, I failed, but I am not finished," then you are already on the path to success. Every great comeback story is written with the ink of failure. The reason they inspire us so much is because they remind us that falling down is not the end of the story. You can fall 7 times and rise 8. You can be told no 1,000 times, and the 1,001st time might be the yes. That changes your life forever. The question is, do you have the courage to get up again after the world has seen you fall? Do you have the strength to believe in yourself when others don't? Do you have the patience to keep building when everything seems broken? Failure is not glamorous. It's not something you post about. It's not something people celebrate, at least not immediately. It's lonely, it's painful, it makes you doubt the path you are on. But it is also the exact place where transformation happens. In the moments when no one is watching, when the spotlight is gone, when the applause is silent, you rebuild yourself. You become stronger, wiser, sharper. And when you return not as the same person who failed, but as someone unrecognizable, someone more capable, someone ready to hold the success that once slipped through your fingers. If you run away from failure, you are also running away from success, because they are two sides of the same journey. Failure is simply success in progress. It is the proof that you are trying, that you are moving, that you are not sitting on the sidelines of life. If you have never failed, it means you have never taken risks, and if you have never taken risks, it means you are not truly living. Playing safe might protect you from failure, but it will also keep you from greatness. Comfort zones never create history. History is created by those who dared, who stumbled, who fell, and who refused to stay down. So every time you fail, instead of asking, "Why me?" start asking, "What is this teaching me? What skill do I need to sharpen? What weakness do I need to overcome? What lesson do I need to carry forward?" That shift in mindset changes everything, because then failure stops being a punishment and becomes a stepping stone. And the more stepping stones you collect, the closer you get to the top. Success built without failure is fragile, but success built on failure is indestructible, because you have already been tested. You have already been broken and rebuilt. You have already walked through fire and survived. That is why failure is not your enemy, it is your ally. It is not the end of your journey, it is part of your story. The sooner you embrace it, the sooner you will understand that every failure you face is simply shaping you for the greatness that is waiting ahead. Own your ambition, your passion, and your voice, because if you don't, someone else will try to own them for you. From the moment we are young, we are told what we should be, how we should behave, what we should dream of, and how far we should go. Society creates boxes, family creates expectations, and the world creates labels. And in the middle of all of that noise, it becomes so easy to shrink yourself to fit into what feels acceptable, safe, and comfortable. But here's the truth. Comfort never creates growth, and fitting in never creates impact. The people who change the world, the people who inspire, the people who lead, are the ones who refuse to apologize for being ambitious, passionate, and unapologetically themselves. Ambition is not arrogance. Ambition is hunger. It is the fire inside you that tells you there is more for you in this life. It is not about competing with others. It is about competing with yourself, about refusing to settle when you know you can go further, when you know you can do more, when you know you can create something extraordinary. But ambition without ownership is wasted. Too many people hide their ambition because they are afraid of being called selfish, too driven, too much. They tone it down so they don't intimidate others. They dim their light so no one feels overshadowed. They compromise because they think ambition will make them unlikable. But why should you apologize for wanting more? Why should you be ashamed of desiring greatness? If your ambition makes others uncomfortable, it only means they are not used to seeing someone walk in their full power. Own it anyway. Passion is what gives life to ambition. Passion is the reason behind your actions, the fuel that drives you when the world tells you no. It is what keeps you awake at night dreaming, what wakes you up in the morning with purpose. Too often, people give up on their passion because the world convinces them it is impractical, unrealistic, or too difficult to pursue. They trade passion for stability, for approval, for temporary security. But when you live without passion, you live half a life. Your soul craves something bigger, and if you silence that craving long enough, it becomes regret. Regret is far heavier to carry than the weight of failure. Passion is not always easy. It will demand sacrifice. It will demand resilience. But if you own it, if you protect it, if you nurture it, then it becomes unstoppable. The world needs people who are alive with passion, because passion is contagious, passion inspires, passion transforms. And then comes your voice. Your voice is your power. It is your story, your perspective, your truth. There will always be people who try to silence you, who will tell you to stay quiet, to not speak too loudly, to not rock the boat. But silence has never created change. Silence has never inspired revolutions. Silence has never built legacies. Your voice matters, not because it is perfect, but because it is yours. When you speak, you give courage to others who are afraid to speak. When you tell your story, you give strength to someone who thought they were alone. When you stand up, you remind others that it is possible to rise too. But if you give away your voice, if you let others dictate what you can or cannot say, then you are surrendering the most powerful tool you have. Owning your ambition, your passion, and your voice means refusing to play small in a world that is constantly asking you to shrink. It means showing up boldly in rooms where people expect you to be silent. It means daring to dream out loud even when others roll their eyes. It means loving what you do so much that you are willing to face rejection, criticism, and failure because you know your purpose is bigger than their opinion. It means saying what you believe even if your voice shakes because you understand that truth is louder than fear. You will face resistance. The moment you start owning who you are, people will feel threatened. Some will call you difficult. Others will call you stubborn. Some may even call you delusional. But their labels are not your reality. Their doubts are not your truth. When you own your ambition, passion, and voice, you stop seeking permission. You stop waiting for validation. You stop asking for approval. You understand that you don't need anyone to tell you that you are worthy of pursuing your dreams. You give yourself that permission because you know your worth is not negotiable. There will be sacrifices. You will lose people along the way who cannot handle your growth. You will face moments of loneliness because not everyone will understand your journey. But loneliness with authenticity is far better than company with compromise. When you live a life true to yourself, you attract the right people, the right opportunities, the right energy. The world may resist at first, but eventually the world respects those who refuse to compromise on their truth. Every time you step into your ambition, you are teaching others to dream bigger. Every time you protect your passion, you are showing others that it is possible to live fully. Every time you raise your voice, you are opening doors for someone else to raise theirs. This is not just about you. Owning your ambition, passion, and voice creates a ripple effect. It inspires the next generation to stand taller, to aim higher, to believe deeper. That is how legacies are built, not by hiding who you are, but by owning it so fully that others are empowered to do the same. So never apologize for being ambitious, for being passionate, for being loud about your dreams. The world has enough people playing safe, enough people silencing themselves, enough people giving up on their fire. What the world needs are individuals who are unafraid to take up space, unafraid to chase greatness, unafraid to say, I am here, I matter, and I will not be silenced. Own your ambition, own your passion, own your voice, because they are the most powerful gifts you will ever have. Don't wait for the perfect moment. The time is now. Too many of us live as if life is an endless rehearsal, as if one day all the stars will align, the circumstances will be ideal, the fear will disappear, the resources will magically appear, and only then we will finally take action. But life doesn't work that way. There is no perfect moment waiting in the future. The only perfect time you will ever have is the moment you are living right now. Every day you spend waiting is a day you will never get back, a chance you will never see again, an opportunity that quietly slips away while you are waiting for conditions that may never come. Perfection is an illusion. It is a trap that convinces us to delay our dreams, to delay our growth, to delay our happiness. We tell ourselves, I'll start when I have more money, I'll act when I feel ready, I'll try when people support me, I'll chase that dream when I have more time. But the truth is, none of those things will ever feel enough. There will always be fear, always be doubt, always be uncertainty, always be obstacles. If you wait for them to disappear, you will be waiting your whole life. The most successful people are not those who had the perfect conditions. They are those who acted in imperfect conditions, those who created momentum even when they were unprepared, those who chose courage over comfort. The time is now because the future is never guaranteed. You don't know how many chances you will get. You don't know how long you will have. You don't know what tomorrow will bring. The only thing you can control is today, the decision you make now, the step you take now. Every big achievement you admire started with someone daring to begin at a moment that wasn't perfect. They didn't have it all figured out, but they trusted themselves enough to start anyway. Progress is born out of action, not out of waiting. Waiting is the slow death of dreams. Fear convinces us to wait. Fear tells us, what if I fail? What if I am not ready? What if people laugh? What if I lose everything? But fear will always exist, even after you succeed. The question is not how to eliminate fear. The question is whether you will let it control your life. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move forward despite it. When you choose to act now, you teach fear that it has no power over you. You teach yourself that action creates clarity, that movement builds confidence, that one small step can lead to another, and soon you are walking toward the life you once thought impossible. The time is now because tomorrow is not promised. So many people keep their dreams locked in their hearts thinking they will have time later when the children grow up, later when the career is stable, later when there is enough money, later when life feels easier. But what if later never comes? What if all you have is today? Would you still waste it waiting for perfect? Or would you finally take that leap, finally write that book, finally launch that idea, finally chase that dream? Every day you wait, the world misses out on the gift only you can bring. Every day you delay, someone else less talented but more courageous is stepping into the space you were meant to fill. The time is now because growth comes from action. You can read, plan, prepare, visualize, but none of it matters until you do something. Action, no matter how small, is the spark that sets everything else in motion. Starting before you feel ready forces you to grow, to adapt, to learn on the way. You don't need all the answers to begin. You only need the courage to take the first step. The rest unfolds as you move. Waiting for perfection is an excuse disguised as patience. True patience is staying committed after you begin, not delaying until conditions look ideal. Don't underestimate the power of momentum. A small action taken today can change the course of your entire future. One decision, one risk, one conversation, one step outside your comfort zone. It may look small, but it can open doors you never imagined. The magic happens not when everything is perfect, but when you act in imperfection and trust the process. That is when opportunities appear. That is when you surprise yourself with what you are capable of. That is when you realize the perfect time was never a date on the calendar. It was always the moment you chose to begin. People will try to convince you to wait. They will say be practical, be realistic, think carefully, don't rush. And of course, wisdom and planning matter, but not at the cost of endless hesitation. The line between preparation and procrastination is thin, and most people cross it without realizing. You will never feel completely ready, because readiness is not something that comes before action. It is something that comes because of action. The more you do, the more you learn, the more you adapt, the more ready you become. If you want to feel ready, start now. The time is now, because nothing changes until you change. You cannot hope your circumstances into transformation. You cannot wish your way into success. Change happens when you act differently, when you take bold steps, when you stop waiting and start doing. The world does not pause for you to gather courage. Time does not stop until you feel comfortable. Opportunities do not wait for your doubts to disappear. They pass by and they don't come back. The greatest regret people carry at the end of their lives is not the mistakes they made, but the chances they never took. Don't let waiting rob you of your story. Your only limit is you, and the sooner you accept that, the sooner you take full control of your life. Too often we blame the world for holding us back. We say it's the lack of resources, the lack of support, the lack of opportunities, the lack of luck. But the truth is, most of the time, the greatest barrier standing between you and the life you dream of is the person you see in the mirror every morning. It's your doubts, your fears, your excuses, your hesitation, your decision to play small when you know deep down you were built for more. Think about it. How many times have you said no to yourself before the world even had the chance to say no to you? How many times have you convinced yourself you weren't ready, that you weren't good enough, that you would fail, that people would laugh? How many times have you stopped before you even started because of the limits you set in your own mind? The world cannot stop you as much as you can stop yourself. External obstacles are real, but they can be overcome with persistence, with strategy, with time. Internal obstacles, however, can keep you paralyzed forever if you let them. Your mind is powerful. It can either be your prison or your liberation. If you feed it with fear, it will create walls so high you won't even try to climb. If you feed it with courage, it will create doors where no one else can see them. Most of the limitations we believe in are illusions we built over time. Maybe someone told you once that you're not smart enough, not talented enough, not capable enough, and you believed them. Maybe society made you feel small, maybe your past failures made you feel weak. But the truth is, every time you accept those limits as permanent, you give away your power, you let other people's opinions become your reality. The only way to break free is to decide that your potential is bigger than your fear. To decide that you will no longer be your own obstacle. To decide that you will rewrite the story you tell yourself. Because the story you repeat in your mind becomes the life you live. If you keep saying, I can't, I won't, it's too hard, I'm not ready, then you will create a life that reflects those beliefs. But if you change the narrative, if you say I will, I can, I am ready, I am enough, then you open doors inside yourself that lead to doors outside. Your only limit is you, because the human spirit is capable of extraordinary things when it is determined enough. History is full of people who came from nothing, who had no resources, no support, no advantages, yet they broke records, changed industries, transformed societies. The difference was not that life was easier for them. The difference was that they refused to limit themselves. They chose to believe in possibility even when it looked impossible. They chose to act even when the odds were against them. They chose to define their own boundaries instead of letting the world define them. The voice inside your head is the loudest voice you will ever hear. If that voice constantly tells you that you cannot, then you will live a life chained by invisible walls. But if that voice becomes your cheerleader, if it whispers to you that you can try, you can grow, you can fight, you can rise, then no external force will be strong enough to stop you. Self-belief is not arrogance, it is necessity. It is the foundation of every dream. You can have all the talent in the world, all the opportunities, all the support. But if you don't believe you deserve it, you will sabotage yourself. And you can have none of those things. But if you believe in yourself fiercely enough, you will create opportunities from nothing. So the real question is, what do you believe about yourself? Do you believe you are capable of greatness? Or do you believe you are destined to remain ordinary? Do you believe your voice matters, or do you silence yourself before anyone else can? Do you believe your dream is worth fighting for, or do you convince yourself it's unrealistic before the battle even begins? Your belief sets your ceiling. If you believe small, you live small. If you believe big, you live big. The limits you place on yourself don't just affect you, they affect the world around you too. Every time you hold back your gift, someone else loses the chance to be inspired by you. Every time you silence your voice, someone else misses the words that could have given them courage. Every time you quit on your dream, you rob the world of the impact you were meant to create. Your limits don't just cage you, they cage the ripple effect you were supposed to create. Breaking through those limits requires courage. It requires looking in the mirror and admitting that you are the one who has been holding yourself back. It requires taking responsibility for your choices, for your mindset, for your actions. That responsibility is heavy, but it is also liberating, because once you accept that you are the problem, you also realize you are the solution. You don't need the world to change before you begin. You need to change yourself. Fear will always try to convince you to stay safe, to stay small, to avoid risk. And maybe safety feels comfortable for a while, but comfort zones slowly become cages. And the worst part is, the bars of that cage are built by your own hands. Every excuse, every hesitation, every limitation adds another bar until you find yourself locked in a life that feels smaller than what you know you deserve. The key is in your hands. The question is whether you will use it. Your only limit is you, and that is the most empowering truth. Because if the limit was the world, you might not be able to change it. If the limit was circumstances, you might not be able to control them. But if the limit is you, then you can change it, because you can change yourself. You can change your mindset, your choices, your habits, your actions. You have the power to break the chains you put on yourself. You have the power to create a new standard for your life. You have the power to decide that you will no longer let fear or doubt dictate your future.